Hello everyone, my name is Dallas May, and today we got another video for you. It's a theory I have on Dead Island 2. How the virus could have gotten to California. Now if you haven't seen Dead Island 2, check out the trailers. I'm a huge fanatic of Dead Island. Dead Island Riptide, Escape Dead Island, Dying Light. I mean, it doesn't really take place, well, it does take place in the same universe at the same time it don't. If you haven't seen the other video where I talked about the possibilities of them being connected, I recommend you do so. Um, anyway, this is my theory on how the virus possibly got to California. If you haven't played the first Dead Island or Dead Island Riptide, I recommend it. I highly recommend it. They are fun games. But at the end of Dead Island, and if you haven't played Ryder White's campaign, I highly recommend it too. You see, there's this character in the game called Karen. The heroes, the immune, didn't know who Karen was. Karen was in Ryder White's campaign, and he was impersonating Ryder throughout the entire story. And he escaped the prison at the end after he tricked Ryder into thinking that the so-called cure he had would cure him. It didn't. It turned him into a super infected, and the immune had to kill him. And, well, at the end of that game, when Karen escapes the prison, they go to a ship in Riptide, and in Riptide they're met with Frank Serpo, which take the immune into custody, and you progress to the events of Dead Island Riptide. And we don't know what happens officially to Karen in Riptide. After the shipwreck, anything could have happened to him and Yerma. We do know that in part of the game, you get to hear the scientist in not West, but the scientist in Serpo talk about moving Yerma to another location. And as you know, you um, play Riptide, there are some secret files that tell you some little known facts of Dead Island. And I just want to hack and slash through zombies, you know? I got a new weapon, a Tainto, and it's not chipped or broken or anything. Bought it for about 15 bucks from a weapon vendor. Anyway, back to my theory on Karen. This is my theory, and I got reasons to support it. You see, after the shipwreck, Karen could have changed his outfit, got one of the life rafts or lifeboats that was on the ship, and sailed out to sea. He could have done that and eventually got picked up by like a cargo ship or anything. And in the midst of that, he could have made his way to California via boat. And you're probably wondering, how does this come into play? Well, Karen could have had a sample of the virus on him. And you're probably wondering, what do you mean by that? Well, he could have had a sample of the zombie virus. He could have took a needle from an infected tissue, took a sample from infected tissue, took a needle, drew blood samples and stuff, and had it with him. And when he got to California, he could have convinced a drug dealer or a junkie, you know, someone who does drugs and all that stuff. And he could have convinced him that it was like a new product to try out. And all it could have took was one person to say yes or no on it, and or say yes and try it, and boom, got an infection started. And the ways I got to support this is in actually an Escape Dead Island. If you never played Escape Dead Island, I recommend it some. It's a bit cartoony when you look at it like that, with weird sound effects and stuff that you make when you have use your weapons in the game. In the game, there are these logs that Karen left throughout the game, his research logs, and he talks about his father and how his father died to the company. And in the prologue of Escape Dead Island, when you're playing as Rob, you kill this scientist. There's this doctor that Rob kills, and he talks, and as he's talking to this person, it is revealed that it was Karen, and he had tendencies on using the virus to turn terrorist. So he could have used that virus as like a terrorist attack and tricked people with it, just the same as he did in the first Dead Island, and caused an infection in California, in Los Angeles. That's my theory, anyway. He could have simply had a sample of the virus or some of the blood from an infected tissue sample and convinced drug dealer or a junkie, anyone in particular that deals with that kind of stuff, that it was a quote-unquote new product. And all it would have took was one person to say yes and try it out and see if anything happens, and boom, infected. But that's my theory on how the virus went to Dead Island 2 in LA. I'm very curious to know what your all's theories are. Because there could be many possibilities. There are many possibilities. I mean, how does the virus get from the archipelago region all the way to Los Angeles in California? Comment down below and let me know what your theories are. Because right now that's my only theory. That's the only theory I've got for now. So if you want to comment down below and tell me what your theories are, go ahead and let me know. And we'll see what we can do. We can theorize and maybe find out how and why this outbreak started in Dead Island 2. As always, see you all when I do another video.